Moin, ihr wunderbare Menschen des Interwebs! Ich begrüße euch ganz herzlich zurück zu meinem Let's Play von The Great Ace-Attorney Chronicles. Im letzten Part haben wir uns mit Iris ein wenig unterhalten. Ein sehr, sehr schöner Charakter, ein sehr, sehr toller Charakter. Hat mir sehr, sehr viel Spaß gemacht, mich mit ihr zu unterhalten. Und wir wollten uns jetzt einmal mit unserem Freund Sherlock unterhalten. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect, so let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he will take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Okay, present. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gutter boots, that's for sure. We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson. What? For me? From her ladyship? Her ladyship? Give that here, at once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me. Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee, that's what it is. An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean... That's right, for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me every time. Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly. Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you. Never you mind that. So, what you want to know then, huh? Sorry. Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust it won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know? Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we would very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Oh, the little knife-wielding mustache Japanese fellow. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there. Look. On the first floor of that house, on the corner where the wreck of a bicycle's propped up. It is nearby indeed. If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garrideb. Right, well, if you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it, you tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes. Don't worry, Inspector, we will. Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship. Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left. Yes, so then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely. Okay, dann würde ich sagen, gehen wir einmal dorthin. A new location has been added. May I help you? Yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garrideb? Indeed, it would, sir. And who may I say is calling? My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I am... Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Saseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garrideb. Garrideb? Did you see that, Mr. Sato? That was a real-life English maid. I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household stuff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. Certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? You need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not sure if I would go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garrideb will see you now. This way. Good day to you, John Garrideb, at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer. Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maywent, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. He's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was ponding at the top of the stairs. You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you think so? Well, Miss Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folder, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetch the... Dash it all, woman, be careful! Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir. You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands. Shall be more careful, sir. So anyway, there you have it, living the quiet life now. Yes, I see. Now then, I hear you want to know about the cheap lodging downstairs, is that right? Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. Only to please, naturally, especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blightly. We have forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware, so this case is very much in the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? Even had some famous detective poking around, you know, in this old house, would you believe? Yes, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business. Oh, but you have a copy of Friends magazine here, so... oh, no. Anyway, the chap's investigating their foreign's room as we speak. Though he's in Sasaki-san's room. It's a bally nuisance. Nuisance? Is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching at its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling. About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garrideb, please do tell us. Oh yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then. I have 2 lodgers most of the time, one on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you see, sir. Dash it all, Joanne, do be careful. Oh my goodness, I'm terrible sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh, why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, and always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweet soap brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joanne, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything. We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure. Is there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes, oh yes, indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Oh my word, yes, the man was shadier than an orchid. Would you elaborate? Well, take the man's room, absolutely stuffed full of books it is, more than anyone could ever read, and he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshop every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night, but I've never known the Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? I understand that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house, is that correct? That's right, yes, they're both below us, on the first floor and street level. Then, how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example, even the times they go to bed. Good grief, Jen, be more careful, woman! Oh my goodness, sir, I'm terrible. Sorry, sir. Something doesn't add up here. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around the time? The window? Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrideb household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joanne? No, sir, it would have been dusk outside already at that hour, and with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then? Such as? Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated. Well, yes. Was there something then? Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but at around that sort of time and here For the love of God, Joanne, watch what you're doing! Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir. Do be more careful, woman. Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes? I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour, nothing at all. Oh, really? Mr. Garrideb, the way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really, nothing of... Joanne, dash it all, what's the matter with you, woman? Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal, Joanne? That's right, Mr. Garrideb. Voice crack. What is the matter with these two? It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident, but what? I wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Why, certainly, just below us on the first floor. And Mr. Shonsen is investigating there even as we speak? Yes, told me Natsu's name, had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Shom's services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean. Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs. Who knows if we will find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes, and while we are there, we can speak with Mr. Shoms again. Perhaps he will be able to tell us more. Okay, gut, dann können wir hier mit den Herrschaften nicht mehr reden. Also, für mich sieht das alles so aus, als würde sie ihn davon abhalten, dass er uns Informationen gibt. Ich würde sehr, sehr gerne mich in den Raum noch einmal umgucken. The uniform looks fairly Asian, doesn't it? It's clearly been well looked after, though. That old thing? Not much better than Rex, really. Oh. Wore that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know? But I'm not one for dwelling on the past, me. Would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, doesn't hurt to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it? Oh, I see. Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Okay, ich wollte eigentlich mir das... Oh, okay. Da rede ich nur über die Kanone. Schade. Ich wollte mir noch sehr, sehr gerne das Schwert angucken. That's a fully sized cannon. What it's doing here in here? Oh my, it's real. I thought it might be a replica. That old thing? Well, that's little more than a toy. Sorry. The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy. Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garrideb? Always is. Take Joanne here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. They dry very well on the cannon there, John tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. That looks like a Medal of Honor and a showcase on a very grand banner. Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say. Also, it bothers me that it's not strayed. What, that old thing? Sorry. Should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn in his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's the best place for it, keeps the belly thing out of my way. So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose? There appears to be an inscription on the medal itself. Look, let me see. It says, for distinguished participation. Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for. Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles. That portrait of Mr. Garrideb is glaring at me, I swear. Have you noticed that all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Garrideb as well? Yes, and there seems to be a statue of a lion on the mantelpiece as well. Oh yes, seemed to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket. Seemed to come back? What do you mean? The chap who runs the place is a belly wizard, went in to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need. The lion ornament certainly does seem surplus to requirements. The citizen doesn't pull her punches, or her throws, for that matter. Look at that enormous screen, it must have been put there deliberately, surely. Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder? I'm going to have a very quick look, just a little peek. Maybe let's not miss Susato. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. Aber hier liegt noch irgendwas auf dem Boden. Das darf ich mir leider nicht angucken. Das sieht aus wie eine Kerze. Ach so, Moment. Das ist eine Kerze und hier ist der ganze Teppich verbrannt. Ich schätze mal, das ist das, was es verbergen soll. Die Bücher können wir noch angucken. I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garrideb. Do you enjoy reading? Ever experienced the London winter, boy? The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book. Oh, there's a copy of Friends magazine here, I see. No doubt Mr. Garrideb enjoys the adventures of Sherlock Holmes too. The great detective has a great many followers, it would seem. Are those mortar shells? They're enormous. Oh, I hadn't noticed. What are they doing here? Oh, those old things. A couple of little rounds I accidentally fired into the barracks during training, you know. Became a bit of colorful regiment folklore, that incident. You mean you deliberately hunted out the spent shells? Well, I wouldn't say deliberately exactly. They're only scrap iron after all, usually just thrown away, I believe. But you never know when things might come in useful, do you? Useful for what exactly? Yes, well... Joanne here did manage to knock one of the belly things on my foot the other day while she was dusting. Oh no. Hadn't chatted here since 1869, before then, you know. Maybe reconsider throwing them away. Oh look. What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand. Lined up? It looks more like someone has half demolished them to me.
Afternoon tea is a time of indolence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Garrideb's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful.
Oh, wait a minute though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand.
Well, naturally, and it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrideb doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joanne, you shall have to tidy up.
How magnanimous of you. Und hier das ist die Kerze, die fehlt.
This old candle holder looks a little out of place here, wouldn't you say?
Yes, you're right. It's clearly supposed to be gold, but it's almost completely black for some reason. That old thing, yes, just a cheap piece of ironmongery gimcrack, really. Used it when I was studying, don't you know, for my commission. I know it's old, hardly worth hanging on to, really, but, well, still has its uses sometimes.
Of course.
Does everything in this room have some elaborate story behind it?
They are memories, Mr. Naruhodo. Memories.
Look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it?
Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful? Also, the shelves seem to be broken and the crockery is, oh dear, it's in pieces.
It really is. The wall cracked wouldn't do that chinaware justice.
Ah, I wonder. Perhaps the cannon was fired at it?
Yes, probably something like that, but let's not dwell too deeply here.
This window looks out of Briar Road, where the young woman was attacked.
Oh yes, I can make out the policeman on the far side of the road investigating the crime scene.
The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly.
Is this thing open at all, I wonder?
Shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir.
Sorry?
As soon as you open that window, the tea will freeze in the pot. No Londoner would go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you.
It seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything of the incident, son. Okay. Ich glaube immer noch, dass die beiden irgendein Geheimnis haben. Und ich bin mir sicher, dass wir das irgendwann auch noch hier herausfinden werden. Aber mehr können wir uns hier erstmal nicht angucken. Dann würde ich sagen, gehen wir in Mr. Natsumes Raum und gucken uns dort einmal um. Aber das machen wir erst im nächsten Part. Wie immer bedanke ich mich ganz herzlich fürs Zusehen. Hoffe, ihr hattet Spaß. Und wenn ihr mögt, sehen wir uns sehr, sehr gerne im nächsten Part wieder. Bis dahin, ciao.